Hi Kia ora listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton, welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me at X or Instagram at Let's Learn Sumo. Also on YouTube at Let's Learn Sumo, where I rebroadcast this podcast in audio form, as well put the odd video episode up. Now that the basho is over, I can work on a few more of those episodes that I'll release as the year goes on. So the January basho is now over. Hoshoryu Ozeki won the basho with 33 wins over 3 tournaments, thereabouts, finishing with a Yusho after his Jun Yusho of 13 wins in November. Now, remember, after November, with his Jun Yusho of 13 wins, losing to Korozakura, the chairman did say that if he Yusho'd in January, they would consider him for promotion to Yokozuna. The Shimpan committee, however, now recommended him for consideration to Yokozuna, to the Yokozuna Deliberation Committee, who last night approved that recommendation. It now goes to the full board of the JSA for ratification, which, barring any last-minute hiccups, will be rubber-stamped in the next 48 hours. We will have our 74th Yokozuna, Hoshoryu, man from Mongolia. The retirement of our 73rd Yokozuna, Terunofuji, was big enough news. Now we see the rise of a new Yokozuna after 4 years. Look, it's a rare and special thing. So whilst some wanted a W show from Hoshoryu, a more dominant display, you can't now fault him for getting 12 wins in regular time and then dominating a 3-way playoff in such a way. So now we have a new Yokozuna in the making. Let's have a look around, like I promised, the rest of the matches from an exciting night of sumo on day 15. If you want to go through the Hoshoryu Rise to Yusho against Kimbozan and Oho, go back to the previous episode. We've covered all of that. This will cover all of the fights that we didn't cover in the day 15. So let's get into it. Other than Hoshoryu, Oho and Kimbozan, let's move on to our other Ozeki, Onosato. He faced up to Ura in the second last match of the night, and he made short work of our pink magician. It seems that Ura came out of the tachi, never quite got his balance, as Onosato was quick as a flash, used thrusts to drive Ura back onto his heels and over the bales, 3 or 4 hits. Look, it just looked like Ura had kind of not quite committed or had overbalanced a bit. He kind of lost his footing. He was on his heels. It was not really his normal tachi, and that leaves Ozeki Onosato, who will likely climb to Ozeki 1 East now on double-digit wins at 10 and 5. Respectable performance from the Ozeki. So he lost to Tobizawa on day 1, the Ozeki and Yokozuna Reka, by a quick Hikitoshi pull-down. He also lost to Abi, Oho, Kimbozan and Hoshoryu. That rounded out his fortnight. Look, it's not awful if you consider 3 of them made it to the playoff. 1 ended a Yokozuna's career. Ura, he had a tournament that left him with only 7 wins, 8 losses, Makekoshi, but one of the wildest matches against Wakamoto Haru and one of the most exciting Kimarete against Takayasu with a Tusei Zori, the forward, backwards, twisting, crazy arm pull. I think it will call it. Wakamoto Haru, he faced Endo, having had a dreadful week with only 1 win before day 9. He recovered in a second week with a wild win over Ura and what turned out to be a fairly patient win over Endo after a long belt lockup. Wakamoto Haru and Endo, they both denied each other the belt, but ended up in the centre before Wakamoto Haru initiated a move after that lockup, moved Endo's balance before a really good drive out Oshidashi. Endo, he finished Megashira 7, also Makikoshi, also 6 and 9. It seems that, look, Endo, unless he gets on the belt or he pulls off a hanker, he doesn't seem to have a lot of other plans, but, he's been around a long time. Daisho, he beat Abi with a pretty good patient fight there. Big double Nottawa from neck thrust from Abi, but Daisho, he absorbs it as he pushed Abi to the bales. Abi kept the Nottawa going as he chased Daisho to the bales, but Daisho moved laterally on the retreat, Daosha then charged and forced Abi back and over the bales. Big tournament for Daosho, our threshing machine, finishing at 11-4, only losing to Oho, Onosato, Kirishima and Hoshoryu in his good fortnight. Look, maybe the start of an Ozeki run from him. Some people do call him the professional Sekiwake. Well, it's about time he stood up, I think. Abi, he will fall out of Komusubi with a 7-8 Makikoshi. One of the big fights of the night, and certainly anticipated, was the Ichiyamamoto versus Wakataka Kage fight. They have a 1-1 head-to-head, remember. Ichi being the Wakataka Kage superfan. Well, he did beat him. Big touchy eye, Wakataka Kage pushes forward, but Ichi, he got a big double-handed Norawa on Wakataka Kage. Waka pushed forward hard and held, but Ichiyamamoto released and slapped Wakataka Kage down. Both of those guys were on 7-7. Ichiyamamoto, he moved to 8-7 with his Kachikoshi. Wakataka Kage, he finished 7-8 with a Kinboshi to his name, so not all bad. After that super fast Karasukashi underarm swing down on the Yokozuna on day one. Otherwise losing to all the other Senyaku except his Henka on Abi. He lost to Oho, Ura and Ichi to round out his poor tournament. Otherwise, I'm sure he'll be disappointed from that. He'll be back down to Magashira. Takanosho, he put himself under pressure this tournament, losing to the Senyaku in the first week, getting a win over Wakamoto Haru and Abi before falling to the threshing machine Daosho and Wakataka Kage. He faced Kageyaki. Look, I call Kageyaki the Queen Mary because he's big and lumbering and slow, but he's not that bad. Day 15 ended with a fairly easy Yorakiri win for Kageyaki that should have been a Takanosho win. 6-9 for Takanosho. A drop from M1 is in store from him. Kageyaki, he finished on 6-9, so he will be on the Juryo barge for March. Kirishima and Takeru Fuji. This match had a pretty big expectation. They have not met before, which is a little bit unusual. Big hit at the touchy eye. Takeru Fuji tries to harry Kirishima back to the bales. Kirishima went back, rode the bales, and he got a hand on the back of Takeru Fuji's head as Takeru Fuji went down and forward and over the bales. The Gumbai went to Kirishima. No mono-e. They looked at the replay. There was a suggestion Kirishima's heel might have gone out, but no, it didn't. The replay showed he stayed up and off the soft dirt. Takeru Fuji had a pretty good tournament, 10-5. Kirishima finished on 11-4. Tobizaru met Meisei and dealt with him. Multiple thrusts and hits before Meisei locked Tobizaru up. Tobizaru had a deep right belt. Meisei tried to shift his weight, but Tobizaru thrusted forward, oshidashi'd him out. Meisei 6-9 at Magashira 11. Look, he's certainly in danger of falling to the lower edges of Magashira. Tobizaru, he earned a Kinboshi off the Yokozuna, Terunofuji. Ended up with the Yokozuna's career finishing off that fight. Disappointingly, he finishes Makikoshi 7-8, so he will drop from Magashira 2. Atami Fuji, he finished his poor tournament with a win over Tsurunumi. Look, it was almost a Suradashi lift out, but he was given Kimadashi arm lock force out. Atami Fuji 5-10, apparently suffering some arthritis in his hip, which is restricting his movement and is obviously quite painful. Tsurunumi also 4-11 at Magashira 9. He'll suffer a big drop as a result of that. Battle of the 7-7s with Midori Fuji and Gonoyama, both looking for Kachikoshi on the last day. Gonoyama chased Midori Fuji around the ring so fast. Midori Fuji, he tried what he could. He just couldn't get it started. He tried for Karasukashi, but he only got the upper arm. He couldn't get any purchase. Gonoyama again harried him around until a thrust out. That gave Gonoyama his Kachikoshi 8-7, while Midori Fuji finished Magashira 11 on 7-8. I did see a comment from Midori Fuji. He said he didn't understand why his first week was so bad, why he only got a win on day 1, then not another win until day 9. Look, he'll cop a small drop from Magashira 11 on a 7-8, but look, he's really floating down towards the bottom end of Magashira. He really does need a few Kachikoshis to push him back up and avoid the Juryo barge. Shodai fell to Nishiki Fuji. finish his terrible tournament at 5-10. Nishiki Fuji, he saved himself at Magashira 17 with a respectable 9-6 after he got saved a couple times by the Bunskei committee. Hiradumi, he finished with 7-8 Makekoshi after a good opportunity going into day 12 with 6 wins, but 7-8 will lessen the damage for him. Couldn't quite punch out a Kachikoshi. He did beat Onakatsu on day 15 as it came out of the touchy eye, blasted him out Yorakiri. Chiyoshima, he had a fantastic week 1, but an awful week 2, losing 5 times, only just to eke out his Kachikoshi against Shononumi on day 15. Bit of a spiteful Oshidashi in the end. I think there was a bit of feeling in that one. Anyway, Shononumi, I should say, finishes his tournament Kachikoshi on 8-7. Hakuoho, he finished with double digits. I would think that might be below his expectations on his return to Magashira, maybe a warm-up for March. He beat Takayasu on day 15. Takayasu finishing Kachikoshi 8-7. Tamashoho finishes 6-9. He'll be back to Juryo to work out a way to beat these lower Magashira guys. Look, not a bad first effort for him. We did comment on Sunday Morning Sumo on YouTube that he does have a bit of a skinny, lithe 60s sumo body. If you see some of the old footage, he's not quite bulked out. He's only about 120, 130 kilos. So he's like Midori Fuji, he's at a disadvantage. Anyway, Mitakayumi, he had a pig of a tournament. He finished only with 2 wins, and those 2 wins happened on day 1 and day 3. I'm guessing obviously some form of injury must be there. As someone of his quality down, posting 12 losses on the trot like that, bit of a drop from Magashira 7 for him. Toki Hayate is likely bound for Juryo. Look, he really did improve this tournament. He's 7-8 at Magashira 17. It's probably he will drop only because he has some fairly strong results in Juryo, which will not help his cause, and we'll see probably 4 or 5 guys come up from Juryo. So Toki Hayate will go back, but he did impress me this tournament. He's coming along well. He'll be back very soon. Takara Fuji finishes at 5-10. Final loss to Toki Hayate on day 15. Nishikigi finishes 8-7 after a win over Oshoma. He finished on 8-7 as well. Kota Shoho, he is in trouble at Magashira 13, punching out of 5-10 after a final win over Tamawashi. The pressure from Juryo will be a telling factor for his ticket on the Juryo barge. It will be a close run thing because I think there'll be about 5 guys coming up from Juryo. Kota Shoho is on that edge. Anyway, Tamawashi, he had a good tournament, 9-6 in the end. And will be going up, the veteran. So that's it. What a January. Yokozuna giving out Kimboshi like lollies, then a retirement from the 73rd Yokozuna. Our Ozeki's falling away early, but I tell you what, they came back with a rush. Onosato and Hoshoryu. Our former Ozeki doing really well. Kirishima, I see him heading back up into Sanyaku. Depending on the Bunskei, we'll have a look at that. I haven't done my sums yet, so Komusubi or Sekiwake for him. Kimbozan and Oho pushing themselves in the front before a 3-way playoff. Most exciting playoff deciding the winner, and that winner all but now confirmed as the 74th Yokozuna. Hard to believe so much has happened in just 2 weeks. Look, I hope you've enjoyed my coverage for the 15 days. Look out for more episodes after a bit of a short rest for me after a busy tournament. I'll be back with more sumo content for you very soon. Thank you for joining me. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.